And so I think El Paso, like it always does, they stepped up, and I think that it's not easy for anybody to come to El Paso because we get together and we fight hard.
So, local and state leaders are reacting to that kind of surprise announcement that Socorro warehouses, once slated to become immigration detention facilities, are no longer going to be used for that purpose. Yesterday, El Paso Congresswoman Veronica Escobar announced that the Department of Homeland Security had transferred the properties to the General Services Administration, meaning they're going to now be put up for sale. So, Escobar said she found out weeks ago that the DHS had abandoned their plans for the warehouses, but she waited until she had what she called, quote, absolute certainty before notifying city and county leaders. The properties had been at the center of months of concern from Socorro residents and local officials over the possibility of a large scale immigration detention facility. Now, Escobar says she feels very happy about the outcome.
I am delighted and relieved and grateful. It was pretty extraordinary unity in the community against this effort.
Escobar says she's not currently aware of any plans for another detention facility in her district, but says possible expansion elsewhere has not been ruled out. She says her office can now focus on other immigration oversight priorities, including the Camp East Montana and the situation at La Tuna.
The mayor for the city of Socorro issued a response in regards to the ICE facility buildings. Mayor Rudy Cruz Jr. says in part, and I quote, "Today's announcement is welcome news for the city of Socorro and our residents." He goes on to say, "From the beginning, we raised serious concerns about the proposed detention facility's impact on our water and wastewater systems, emergency services, roads, public safety, and future economic development." End quote.
Now, KTSM did reach out to DHS for comment on the decision, and a spokesperson told us in part, quote, "From day one, DHS has remained singularly focused on removing the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens from the United States and is always evaluating best methods to do so. DHS is moving swiftly to utilize existing detention space with our state and county partners," end quote. Now, this was a real surprise announcement. Nobody really, for as far as we knew,
Right.
they were gonna go ahead and use these warehouses, and they did spend millions buying those
Oh,
warehouses.
yes.
So
Hundreds
now,
of millions.
yeah, so now they've been returned to the GA, and so no word on what they're going to do with those warehouses.
Right.
So, but for right now, at least they're safe from being detention centers and being, a real major hub, because those are gigantic warehouses. Now, in Second Cup at 7 o'clock this morning over on KTSM Plus, we're going to be speaking with El Paso Congresswoman Veronica Escobar about this surprise announcement, as well as a bunch of other things that are happening, throughout the borderland, including the Meta Data Center, the possibility of the border wall at the base of Mount Cristo Rey, La Tuna. We're talking. There's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to do the whole hour with the Congresswoman, but this is a big, story. As a matter of fact, it's a national story.
Yeah.
I saw it all over a bunch of the different cable news outlets, and some of the other national news organizations were covering it because it was so much money that got spent buying
Right.
those warehouses.
Not just here, but they bought like 11 of them
Yes,
across
they
the
did.
country. And I
Yes.
think if I remember correctly, 9 of those 11 they have stopped plans on turning them into large facilities.
Right.
And they've turned them over to the GA.
And see, I think that's something that a lot of people, not only is it that we don't want, a detention center here in the borderland, but it kind of goes against the stated policy of the Trump administration, which is to get them out of the country, and that's why I think so many people have so many questions about, well, why are we building detention centers
Yeah.
when the point was to move them out of the country?
Exactly.
Instead of holding them for months and months on time.
Right.
I mean, at a time. And so I think that's why a lot of people were very happy about this, but that doesn't mean that they're not still, they're not still
no.
on the streets.
No, I heard Miss Escobar say it doesn't mean that they might not come back a few months later and say, we found another location.
Exactly.
Maybe not as big, but we're going to do
But we're
something
still
over
going to
here.
do something else.
And that's something that we'll bring up when we speak to her as well.